Social cleavages. The reason we study social cleavages is because they are the reason that we have us-them divisions in society. So, poor versus rich, black versus white, urban versus rural. The definition of social cleavages are these are the factors that separate groups within a society. Do multiple cleavages actually lead to more or less division? That is a question that we have to consider. And it should be something you should be able to answer after we define coinciding or reinforcing cleavages and cross-cutting cleavages. Coinciding cleavages or reinforcing cleavages are identity divisions that coincide with one another for large numbers of individuals. When every dispute aligns the same groups against each other, there's going to be more likely to have an explosive environment. So let me give you an example. An example of a coinciding or reinforcing cleavage is when you look at Nigeria and you see that the north is also more rural, the north is also poorer, and the north is also Muslim. All right, so there are three things. North is rural, poor, Muslim. Okay, those are going to clash with the south of Nigeria, which is more urban, which has more resources like oil, and which is also Christian. And even throughout the colonialization of Nigeria, the southern people have been favored over the northern Nigerians. All right, so all of those stacks are lined up against each other, and they're going to clash. And when coinciding cleavages, they are the worst. They are something that you cannot get over. All right, these are the centrifugal forces, which are the forces that are going to divide and polarize the people within a state. Okay, so coinciding cleavages are the worst. They reinforce differences. Cross-cutting cleavages are going to be divides in society. Divides in society that potential groups can actually get over. So cross-cutting cleavages, they're going to not really cause a lot of conflict. People can say, all right, well, I'm Protestant, you're Catholic, we can deal with this, we can work with this. Or I'm, middle class, you're rich, we can deal with this. This isn't something that's going to divide us as a country. The United States has cross-cutting cleavages. Okay, so these occur when two cleavages do not align with each other in a way that is going to divide the country. So if you're looking at the United States, the South isn't just full of poor white people. The North isn't just full of rich minorities. Right? We have so many different layers of our diversity in our country that it crosses over and makes us actually unite as one American nation. Some basic types of social cleavages would be social class or socioeconomic status. This is your income level. So class awareness has actually declined in the world because of industrialization and post-industrial societies, but it still exists as a cleavage. You do see a lot of mix of social class corresponding with other demographics. Like you'll see poor to rich African Americans, poor to rich Baptist, poor to rich educated people. So there's different levels of education. So there is a variety of different demographics that will fall under social class. Ethnic cleavages, these are based on your different cultural identities, including religion, language. Ethnic cleavages are the most dangerous, they're the most explosive. If you look at Nigeria, the reason why you have ethnic conflict is because one ethnic group has managed to gain control of the government and uses that power and authority to suppress another ethnic group. So you saw that with the Nigerian Biafran War. You also see this in Russia, where you have Slavic Orthodox Russians who are in control of the government, who will suppress the rights of minority ethnic groups in Chechnya. And Chechnyans tend to be Muslim. You also see it in China, where most of China is Han Chinese, and they are the ones in control of the government. So they suppress the rights of those people who live in Tibet, the Tibetan Buddhist. Religious cleavages are also really intertwined or interconnected with ethnicity. So, for example, in the UK, Northern Ireland still has a good group of strong Catholic identifiers, and they call themselves the Irish nationalist, and they cause problems for the loyalists who are loyal to the UK, who happen to be identifying themselves as strong Protestant. You see religious cleavages that separate Shiite and Sunnis in Iran, and they may actually, like religious cleavages, may also exist among people with similar ethnic backgrounds. So in the US, you can see a division between fundamentalist or evangelical Christians and non-fundamentalist or non-evangelical Christians. Okay, so regional cleavages also exist, and really the best example of this, of the AP6, is our example of Nigeria, is the country of Nigeria. So regional cleavages will often center around opportunities for economic growth, and also center around the uneven distribution of natural resources in a country. So your regional cleavages, like in Nigeria, exemplify the inequalities because in the south you have a bunch of oil, and that's where you would find oil in the Biafran Republic. And when the northern Nigerians gained control in a coup, the Biafrans tried to solidify their control of the oil by breaking off from Nigeria, because they feared the northern Nigerians would suppress them and take all of their money. Okay, so again, when you see like all of these different cleavages line up, like social class, ethnic conflict, and religious cleavages, and they line up together, and so it's easy to say somebody is poor, somebody is white, somebody is a fundamentalist Christian, and they live in the South. Okay, if that were to line up and it was really different to the people, who live in the North, which is like the Northerners would be rich, they would be minorities, they are Catholic, and they live in the North, that would be a coinciding cleavage. That would be something we couldn't get over as a country. But a cross-cutting cleavage means that you have a lot of diversity, you're spread out, and people can kind of get over each other's differences and work together in a country. So in Nigeria, that's a great example of coinciding cleavages. And then we in the United States are a good example of crossover cleavages because we are diverse.